She lost her leg in a tragic accident, but found healing in an unlikely friendship with a gentle gorilla named Koda. 12 years after painful separation, flames engulfed their sanctuary, bringing her face to face once again with a friend she thought she'd lost forever. Can the courage born from a wild heart overcome the fire's fury and reunite two souls bound by compassion and strength? In the tranquil heart of Colorado nestled the charming mountain town of Timberwood, where lush pine forests stretched endlessly beneath a crystalline sky. It was a place where nature flourished, and seasons painted vivid canvases across mountain slopes. Today, a gentle spring breeze wove through tall trees, carrying scents of fresh pine needles and blooming wildflowers, a stark contrast to the emotional storm within young Emma Sullivan. Emma Sullivan, just 12 years old, possessed an extraordinary spirit concealed beneath her fragile appearance. Petite with delicate features framed by long waves of honey-blonde hair, Emma carried an innocence marred by tragedy. The recent car accident had robbed her of more than just her left leg. It had stolen her confidence and hope, casting her world into shadows. Still adjusting to her prosthetic leg, she often stood apart from others, her deep blue eyes reflecting quiet resilience and a hidden longing for belonging. Determined to offer his daughter a fresh start, Henry Sullivan decided to move to Timberwood. Henry was a tall man in his early 40s, athletic yet softened by years of dedication to wildlife conservation. His rugged face carried a calm, reassuring strength beneath short chestnut hair flecked with gray. Known throughout the region for his unwavering commitment to animal welfare, Henry founded and managed Wild Heart Sanctuary, a refuge for injured and orphaned wildlife on the outskirts of Timberwood. Arriving at the sanctuary, Emma gazed through the car window, watching the dense trees part to reveal open fields and enclosures bustling with wildlife. Despite the vibrant scenery, her heart remained clouded with uncertainty. The scent of hay, earthy woods, and distant animal calls filled her senses as they parked near the main facility. "Welcome home, sweetheart," Henry whispered gently, opening her car door. Emma glanced up at her father, offering a faint smile. As they stepped onto gravel paths, Henry introduced Emma to several sanctuary staff members. Among them was Margaret Baker, an elderly veterinarian whose gentle presence was both comforting and commanding. Margaret, silver-haired and small-framed, had warm, wise eyes behind delicate round glasses. She immediately knelt to Emma's level, warmly greeting her. Margaret's kindness managed to momentarily lift the veil of melancholy shadowing Emma's expression. While Henry conversed with Margaret, Emma wandered cautiously towards an enclosure set slightly apart. Curious, she peered through the mesh fencing into shaded foliage, hearing soft rustling within. A low, sad grunt drew her attention sharply. Squinting, she made out the silhouette of a young animal curled defensively in a corner of the enclosure. "That's Koda," Henry explained, noticing Emma's intrigue. "We rescued him just yesterday." Koda was a young mountain gorilla, approximately 2 years old, with deep black fur, glossy and soft yet marred by small patches of dried blood from a superficial wound on his shoulder. His wide, dark eyes held an expression of profound sorrow and fear, yet an unmistakable gentleness lingered beneath. The sanctuary team had freed him from illegal poachers. The trauma clearly etched itself into Koda's hesitant movements and wary glances. "Will he be okay?" Emma asked softly, feeling an unexpected wave of sympathy towards the small gorilla. Henry nodded solemnly. "He'll recover physically, but emotional healing takes time. Sometimes love and companionship heal wounds medicine can't." Emma, touched deeply by those words, hesitated briefly before taking cautious steps toward Koda's enclosure gate. Margaret, sensing a special bond forming, quietly unlatched the gate, allowing Emma to slowly enter under supervision. Inside the enclosure, Emma stood motionless, heart pounding anxiously. After a moment, she spoke gently, voice barely above a whisper. "Hi, Koda. I'm Emma." The gorilla lifted his head slightly, black eyes locking onto her in wary curiosity. Emma knelt slowly, struggling slightly with balance due to her prosthetic leg. The effort caused her breathing to quicken momentarily, and she bit her lip nervously. Sensing vulnerability, Koda seemed to relax slightly, curiosity piqued by this small human whose movements echoed his own fragility. Koda inched forward hesitantly, stopping only feet from Emma. Their eyes met, exchanging mutual recognition of shared pain. Encouraged by this moment, Emma stretched out a small, trembling hand. Koda, sensing her sincerity, reached out tentatively, his large, gentle fingers brushing against hers. A sudden warmth spread through Emma, a feeling she hadn't experienced since before her accident. Tears welled in her eyes, though she couldn't exactly explain why. For the first time in weeks, Emma felt a spark of genuine hope ignite within her heart. Days turned into weeks, and Emma's bond with Koda blossomed steadily. She spent hours beside him, gently reading aloud stories and sharing snacks, her voice gradually becoming less timid, more vibrant. The gorilla, in turn, began emerging from his emotional shell. His cautious demeanor slowly gave way to playful gestures and tender affection, marking Emma as his trusted companion. Meanwhile, Henry observed the incredible transformation unfolding between the two injured souls. Margaret, often joining him, would smile knowingly. Healing comes in many forms, Henry. Emma found her healer as much as she became Koda's. As spring gently deepened into summer, Emma gained confidence in her movements, becoming adept at navigating uneven terrain despite her prosthetic leg. Her laughter echoed through the sanctuary, lifting spirits among staff members. Timberwood residents began to recognize the cheerful young girl with the gentle gorilla companion, their hearts warmed by the unusual yet beautiful friendship. One sunny afternoon, Emma rested beside Koda under the dappled shade of towering pines, her slender fingers combing tenderly through his thick fur. "We'll both get stronger, won't we?" she murmured affectionately, gazing towards distant peaks. Koda grunted softly in agreement, gently nudging her shoulder. Emma giggled, momentarily free from burdens that had so heavily shadowed her life. Nearby, Henry watched silently, his heart swelling with relief and pride at his daughter's remarkable resilience and compassion. Unbeknownst to them, watching from afar was Ben Harper, a teenage volunteer firefighter who frequently assisted sanctuary staff during weekends. Ben, tall and athletic for 15, possessed an easygoing charm coupled with an innate seriousness born from personal hardship. The recent loss of his mother to illness had imparted a quiet maturity beyond his years. His chestnut hair tousled from physical activity, warm brown eyes thoughtful. Ben observed Emma and Koda, deeply moved by their profound friendship. Their bond struck a chord within him, reminding him of his own journey toward emotional healing. Emma glanced up suddenly, noticing Ben's distant presence. He smiled shyly, waving awkwardly. Emma returned the gesture hesitantly, curious about the boy who seemed both brave and kind. Neither realizing the significant role they would eventually play in each other's lives, they exchanged quiet smiles, beginning a tentative yet meaningful connection. As daylight dimmed, casting warm hues over Timberwood, Emma rose to leave Koda's enclosure. Gazing back affectionately at her furry companion, she whispered softly, "Good night, Koda. See you tomorrow." The young gorilla watched Emma leave, his eyes reflecting newfound trust and contentment. Later, as twilight gently enveloped the sanctuary, Henry stood quietly by Emma's bedroom door, watching his daughter sleep peacefully for the first time in months. A soft smile crossed his face, relieved and hopeful. Emma had found a companion to help mend her broken spirit, just as Koda had discovered someone who understood his pain. Outside, stars began to pepper the velvety sky, illuminating Timberwood in gentle serenity. The sanctuary lay quiet beneath starlight, a tranquil haven of second chances, where wounded souls like Emma and Koda could heal and thrive together, forever changed by their fateful encounter. 2 years swept gently over Timberwood, transforming Emma Sullivan and Koda from fragile, wounded companions into inseparable friends bound by mutual trust and profound affection. Emma, now 14, stood taller, her slight frame strengthened by constant movement within Wildheart Sanctuary. Her honey-blonde hair now cascaded elegantly down her shoulders, and a quiet maturity had replaced the uncertainty once visible in her clear blue eyes. She navigated confidently with her prosthetic leg, its rhythmic clicks becoming an unnoticed backdrop to daily life. Emma's optimism blossomed, nurtured by countless days exploring trails and tending to the sanctuary's animals alongside Koda. Koda, too, thrived remarkably. No longer a frightened young gorilla, he had grown into a robust, playful adolescent, muscular yet graceful. His black coat shimmered healthily beneath sunlight, and his once wary eyes now sparkled with curiosity and intelligence. Sanctuary visitors often marveled at their bond, witnessing Koda's gentle gestures and Emma's carefree laughter. Together, they symbolized hope and resilience. Their favorite pastime was picnicking near a sparkling stream that cut through the sanctuary grounds, surrounded by whispering aspens. One particular afternoon, Emma unpacked sandwiches and fruits, chatting cheerfully while Koda picked berries delicately, occasionally grunting his approval. Nearby, Ben Harper, the young volunteer firefighter now 17, paused momentarily from stacking firewood, his attention drawn irresistibly to their heartwarming camaraderie. Ben had grown taller and leaner, his physique defined by rigorous training. His chestnut hair, always slightly tousled, framed a kind face with thoughtful brown eyes. Still struggling quietly with his mother's loss, he found solace and inspiration watching Emma's strength and joy. "Emma," Margaret Baker called gently, approaching the picnic spot. Margaret's hair had turned entirely silver, her gentle expression unchanged as she adjusted her small round glasses. "Your father needs to speak with you, sweetheart." Emma glanced up curiously, sensing an unusual gravity behind Margaret's typically serene demeanor. Nodding, she reassured Koda with a soothing pat before rising carefully. Approaching the main building, Emma found Henry standing near a sprawling oak tree. His expression was somber, eyes shadowed beneath short, graying chestnut hair. "Dad?" Emma questioned, heart fluttering nervously. Henry placed a comforting hand on her shoulder. "It's time, Emma," he began carefully. "Koda is ready to return to his home, the wilderness. It's where he belongs." Emma's breath caught painfully, her vibrant eyes clouded instantly. "But Dad," she protested softly, "he belongs here with us." Henry knelt, matching his daughter's gaze earnestly. "Sweetheart, our sanctuary's purpose is healing. Koda has recovered, and now he needs his freedom. Letting go isn't easy, but it's part of what we do, part of our responsibility to nature." The painful truth settled heavily in Emma's heart, tears slipping silently down her pale cheeks. She knew Henry was right, yet the thought of losing Koda felt unbearable. In the days following, preparations for Koda's release began. Special training was conducted to prepare him for survival skills necessary in the wild. Emma supported the effort bravely, though privately each day seemed harder than the last. During this time, she found unexpected comfort in Ben's quiet companionship. He often lingered after volunteer duties, gently listening to Emma's fears and concerns. One crisp autumn afternoon, Emma noticed a newcomer touring the sanctuary grounds with Margaret. Curious, she approached, noting the woman's stylish yet practical attire: khaki trousers, a fitted olive green shirt, and sturdy hiking boots. Her auburn hair, cut neatly to shoulder length, framed a face that conveyed both intelligence and compassion. "Emma, meet Rachel Taylor," Margaret introduced warmly. "She's a wildlife biologist here to oversee Koda's release and monitor his transition back to the wild." Rachel extended a friendly hand, smiling warmly. "I've heard wonderful things about you and Koda." Emma shook Rachel's hand tentatively, appreciating the woman's genuine warmth. Rachel's presence comforted Emma slightly. She knew Koda's welfare would be in capable hands. As the departure day drew near, Emma spent every possible moment by Koda's side. They wandered their familiar paths, collecting colorful leaves and smooth river stones. Emma whispered softly to him, sharing stories and promises, attempting to commit each precious moment to memory. The morning of Koda's release arrived sooner than Emma was prepared for. The sky was awash in brilliant oranges and reds, a vivid backdrop to her bittersweet heartache. Sanctuary staff loaded supplies and final medical necessities onto sturdy vehicles. Rachel meticulously reviewed the itinerary, reassuring everyone of the comprehensive care awaiting Koda during his transition. Koda, sensing an unusual tension, clung closely to Emma. She gently scratched behind his ears, soothing him quietly. "You'll be brave, Koda," she whispered tearfully. "The forest will be lucky to have you." Ben stood nearby, silently observing Emma's strength amid sorrow. He approached cautiously, offering quiet comfort. "He'll always remember you, Emma." Emma glanced gratefully at Ben, acknowledging his quiet compassion. "Thank you, Ben. That means a lot." Soon, the moment of farewell arrived. Emma hugged Koda fiercely, breathing deeply his comforting scent of fur and earth. Tears streamed silently down her cheeks, blending with Koda's soft fur. The gorilla emitted a gentle, sorrowful grunt, holding Emma tenderly. Henry approached gently, placing a hand on Emma's shoulder. "We must let him go now, sweetheart." With profound difficulty, Emma released Koda. The gorilla entered the transport crate, guided gently by Rachel. Emma watched helplessly as the crate closed, her heart shattering anew with each securing latch. Vehicles slowly pulled away, carrying Koda toward distant forests where freedom awaited. Emma watched until they disappeared, emptiness flooding her heart. Henry wrapped comforting arms around his daughter, silently supporting her profound grief. In the quiet weeks that followed, Emma grappled with loneliness and sorrow. Henry patiently supported her, reminding her gently of their sanctuary's noble purpose. Margaret offered unwavering kindness, listening compassionately. Even Ben's quiet visits became increasingly comforting, conversations lengthening as they shared mutual hopes and heartaches beneath starlit skies. One clear evening, Emma sat alone beneath their favorite oak tree, gazing skyward. Her heart gradually filled with gratitude and newfound understanding. She reflected deeply upon Koda's release, accepting her vital role in his life's journey toward true freedom. Ben quietly approached, sensing a change within her demeanor. Settling beside her comfortably, he spoke softly. "You're incredibly brave, Emma." She smiled faintly, acknowledging his sincerity. "I don't always feel that way." "But you are," Ben insisted gently. "You chose to love something so deeply, knowing it couldn't stay. That's real bravery." Emma felt warmth blossom within her chest, his words profoundly comforting. Glancing upward at glittering stars, Emma recognized the painful beauty of letting go. She understood now her father's unwavering dedication, embracing her role within nature's delicate balance. In choosing Koda's happiness over her own, Emma had grown immeasurably stronger. Beneath twinkling constellations, Emma and Ben quietly bonded through shared understanding and quiet support. Unspoken yet profound, their friendship steadily deepened beneath silent starlight. Emma's heart, though wounded, began mending gently, strengthened by newfound maturity and acceptance. At that moment, Emma truly embraced the noble legacy entrusted by Henry. She knew her love for Koda transcended distance, forever binding their souls through cherished memories. Understanding deeply the meaningful responsibilities of conservation, Emma vowed silently to protect nature fiercely, guided by wisdom gained through painful yet profound loss. 12 years had gently reshaped Timberwood, turning it from a sleepy mountain retreat into a vibrant community. Emma Sullivan, now 26, found herself perfectly settled into a comfortable rhythm of life. Her slender figure moved gracefully despite the subtle limp caused by her prosthetic leg, which she wore with pride, a symbol of her resilience. Honey blonde hair fell softly around her shoulders, complementing eyes still deep and thoughtful, their shade a tranquil blue that often held a distant, contemplative look. Emma carried herself with maturity and kindness, qualities shaped profoundly by her childhood experiences at Wild Heart Sanctuary. Emma worked at Timberwood's historic library, an elegant stone building nestled amid towering pines. With its wood panel walls, softly glowing lamps, and shelves filled with aged books, it was her sanctuary. From behind her desk, Emma patiently assisted visitors and managed events, most notably conservation lectures inspired by her father's work. Her voice, calm yet passionate, held the power to captivate listeners as she shared the importance of protecting wildlife. After work, Emma frequently visited Timberwood Community Center to host environmental workshops for local children. Today, she was organizing an event celebrating native wildlife, smiling warmly as children enthusiastically crafted animal masks under her gentle guidance. Parents lingered nearby, appreciative of Emma's dedication. Among them was Lily Foster, a local elementary teacher, petite with chestnut curls, who often brought her classes to Emma's sessions. Friendly and cheerful, Lily admired Emma's quiet confidence, often praising her ability to inspire young minds. As Emma tidied the art tables after the workshop, Lily approached with a gentle smile. "Emma, your sessions truly impact these children," she complimented earnestly. Emma smiled gratefully, her cheeks slightly flushed. Meanwhile, across town, Ben Harper, now 29, leaned wearily against his fire truck after another rigorous training exercise. Broad-shouldered and strong, Ben had grown into his role as a respected Timberwood firefighter, though his usually calm demeanor had recently been overshadowed by silent grief. His chestnut hair was slightly darker now, cut shorter, complementing thoughtful brown eyes often clouded with memories. A year earlier, Ben had lost his father, George Harper, a respected Timberwood forester, in a devastating forest fire. The tragedy still weighed heavily upon Ben, fueling his quiet intensity and deepening his sense of responsibility. At the firehouse, Ben's colleague and best friend, Josh Turner, a cheerful, stocky young man with short sandy hair, watched him closely. Josh had an uncanny ability to lighten the mood with humor and easy camaraderie. Approaching casually, Josh gently nudged Ben's shoulder. "You doing all right, man? You've seemed a bit distant lately." Ben sighed softly, acknowledging the concern. "Just memories," he admitted, glancing briefly toward the distant mountains. "You've always carried too much alone," Josh said kindly. "Maybe you should finally talk to her." Ben turned sharply, feigning surprise. "Who?" Josh laughed knowingly, rolling his eyes. "Emma Sullivan. Everyone except you knows you've liked her forever." Ben shook his head quietly, smiling faintly at Josh's persistence. He had admired Emma for years, drawn by her gentle determination and warmth, yet hesitation always stopped him from revealing his feelings. Fear of rejection, mixed with the lingering sorrow of loss, held him back. That evening, Emma prepared to close the library, stacking books carefully beneath dim lights. As she stepped into the twilight air, crisp mountain breezes brushed her cheeks. She headed towards a familiar path leading to Wild Heart Sanctuary, her heart gently tightening with nostalgia. Although Henry Sullivan had retired from active management, he still guided younger conservationists, leaving Emma frequently visiting to maintain family connections. Today, Henry had visitors, including Nathan Reed, a newly appointed park ranger overseeing Timberwood's expanding protected areas. Tall and lean, Nathan was meticulous and disciplined, with short blonde hair framing a friendly, though serious, face. Emma greeted him politely, noticing immediately his genuine passion for wildlife preservation. Their conversation was interrupted when Ben Harper appeared unexpectedly at the sanctuary's gates, carrying a delivery of donated firefighting equipment. Ben paused upon seeing Emma, heart quickening nervously. She smiled warmly, inviting him over. "Hi, Ben," she said gently, eyes brightening. "It's nice seeing you again." Ben returned a shy, sincere smile. "Good seeing you too, Emma. I heard about your educational programs. You're doing great things for Timberwood." Emma's cheeks flushed softly, heart warmed by his earnest praise. "Thank you. I heard you've become quite the respected firefighter." Ben hesitated, eyes briefly shadowed. "Just try to honor my dad's legacy," he admitted softly. Emma's expression softened in quiet sympathy. "Understand, our parents have left us big shoes to fill." Their brief interaction ended as Ben excused himself, though their exchanged smiles lingered warmly within Emma's heart. That evening, beneath starry skies, Emma contemplated Ben's quiet strength, wondering if perhaps their paths were meant to cross more meaningfully. Meanwhile, in town, a council meeting gathered to discuss growing concerns about increased fire risks due to drier summers. Attending was Mayor Catherine Blake, a distinguished woman in her early 50s, tall with poised elegance, short silver hair framing intelligent, observant eyes. She commanded respect effortlessly, speaking decisively about the importance of proactive fire safety measures and conservation education. Her persuasive arguments rallied support easily, earning nods from council members, including Emma Sullivan, who provided expert testimony about preserving wildlife during wildfires. As the meeting adjourned, Mayor Blake approached Henry, her voice respectful yet firm. "Henry, we'll need your support more than ever if fires threaten our forests again." "Absolutely, Mayor," Henry assured, shaking her hand firmly. "We're committed to protecting Timberwood." In the quiet aftermath, Timberwood residents reflected privately on past wildfires, memories of devastation fresh and painful. Ben Harper, preparing firefighting equipment meticulously at the station, felt keenly reminded of his father's loss. He silently vowed to protect Timberwood's residents from similar tragedy, determined to overcome the ghosts of his past. Across town, Emma closed the day, reading quietly beneath a soft lamplight. Her thoughts wandered gently between Ben's sincere expression and memories of Koda, whose release had profoundly shaped her understanding of sacrifice and responsibility. Their shared experience of loss linked Emma and Ben deeply, though neither fully realized its significance yet. In her quiet reflection, Emma sensed new chapters approaching, marked by responsibilities and relationships evolving gently beneath Timberwood's endless skies. Though uncertain about future paths, she trusted implicitly the quiet strength inherited from her father, feeling prepared for whatever challenges awaited. That night, beneath a tranquil canopy of stars, Timberwood rested quietly, unaware of unseen connections growing subtly between its residents. Emma and Ben, though separated by their personal struggles, unknowingly drew closer, their hearts ready to face life's uncertainties together, stronger through shared memories, grief, and hope. The afternoon sun glowed an eerie shade of orange, casting ominous shadows over Timberwood as thick, acrid smoke filled the mountain air. Emma Sullivan stood frozen by the library's window, her clear blue eyes wide with alarm. Wisps of honey-blonde hair clung damply to her pale face as panic tightened her chest. A wildfire had erupted swiftly in the forests near Wildheart's sanctuary, flames now rapidly engulfing the familiar landscape of her childhood memories. Her heart hammered painfully as she thought of Henry, who had left earlier that morning to guide a new group of interns through the sanctuary. At her side, Lily Foster stood clutching her phone anxiously, her petite frame rigid with worry, chestnut curls trembling slightly. "Emma, are you all right?" Lily asked softly, voice strained by fear. Emma nodded slowly, barely hearing her friend's concern as she quickly dialed her father's number again. Each unanswered ring magnified her dread, tightening a cold knot deep within her chest. Unable to remain idle, Emma swiftly gathered her belongings and turned urgently toward the exit. "I have to find him, Lily," she whispered firmly, eyes filled with determination. Lily squeezed her hand reassuringly. "Please be careful." Emma raced toward Timberwood's emergency response station, finding Nathan Reed, the park ranger, already coordinating search and rescue operations. Nathan's tall figure stood resolute amid the chaos, his short blonde hair damp with sweat, eyes sharp with focused authority. "Nathan," Emma called urgently, rushing toward him. "My father might be trapped at the sanctuary." Nathan immediately acknowledged her urgency, nodding sharply. "Emma, we're assembling a search team right now. You can join, but stay close and follow orders strictly." Relief mingled with Emma's anxiety as she hastily donned protective gear. Her prosthetic leg throbbed slightly under pressure, but she ignored the discomfort, driven forward by worry for Henry. Across town, Ben Harper swiftly geared up alongside fellow firefighters at Timberwood Fire Station. His broad shoulders squared with determination beneath heavy protective gear, chestnut hair obscured by a helmet. Memories of losing his father, George Harper, flashed vividly, intensifying his resolve to prevent another devastating loss. Beside him, Josh Turner secured his own equipment rapidly, a calm, reassuring presence despite the escalating tension. "We got this, Ben," Josh encouraged firmly. "We'll protect Timberwood, just like your dad always did." Ben offered a brief, grateful nod, appreciating Josh's unwavering support. Moments later, fire trucks raced urgently toward the flames, sirens piercing the heavy air, signaling courage and hope amidst rising despair. At Wildheart Sanctuary, the fire's devastating power became alarmingly apparent. Flames crackled aggressively, devouring vegetation and trees, the intense heat distorting Emma's vision. Alongside Nathan, she pressed forward, her heart heavy as she saw familiar trails now blackened and charred. "Stay close," Nathan commanded urgently. "Visibility is deteriorating fast." Suddenly, amid dense smoke, Emma glimpsed movement, a tall, slender young woman stumbling toward them. Nathan quickly guided her to safety, and Emma recognized Eleanor Mills, a sanctuary intern in her early 20s. Eleanor had short auburn hair framing a pale, ash-streaked face, glasses askew over fearful brown eyes. "Henry," he went deeper inside, searching for trapped animals. Eleanor gasped, coughing violently. Emma's stomach clenched painfully as Nathan's radio crackled sharply. "All teams report in," came Mayor Catherine Blake's authoritative voice, clear and calm under pressure. Catherine was tirelessly coordinating the response from Timberwood's town hall, her composed demeanor providing stability amidst chaos. Nathan quickly relayed their position and circumstances, while Emma stared anxiously deeper into the fiery wilderness. Meanwhile, Ben and Josh arrived near the sanctuary's entrance, their team immediately deploying hoses and flame retardants, attempting to create protective fire breaks. Ben's heart pounded fiercely, eyes stinging from acrid smoke. Nearby, cries of frightened animals trapped within enclosure pens reached his ears, urging swift action. "Josh, help me open these gates," Ben shouted urgently, wrenching locks free. Josh sprang instantly to his side, their combined strength swiftly freeing panicked animals, who bolted desperately towards safer areas. Despite their heroic efforts, Ben's mind continuously strayed toward Emma. Worry for her well-being surged alongside adrenaline, intensifying his determination to quell the flames swiftly. Inside the burning forest, Emma pressed deeper alongside Nathan, calling desperately for Henry. Smoke thickened, obscuring their surroundings until suddenly, a familiar figure stumbled toward them through drifting ash. Henry Sullivan, face smeared black from soot, short chestnut hair matted, limped heavily forward, supporting a frightened intern named Marcus, whose ankle twisted painfully. Marcus, barely 19, lean and wiry with short dark hair, clung desperately to Henry, visibly trembling from shock. "Dad!" Emma cried, relief flooding her heart as she hurried to support them. Henry managed a reassuring smile, despite exhaustion etched across his rugged features. "Emma, you shouldn't have come," he chided gently, eyes tender beneath soot-stained brows. "I had to find you. Emma whispered fiercely, gripping his hand tightly. Nathan quickly assessed Marcus's injury, signaling they needed immediate evacuation. Suddenly, a loud cracking noise shattered the tense silence. Emma spun sharply, gasping as a massive burning tree toppled swiftly toward them. In a split second, Nathan shoved everyone clear, narrowly avoiding tragedy, though sparks and embers showered dangerously close. "We have to move now," Nathan urged sharply, leading them hastily towards safer terrain. Their progress was arduous, smoke choking every breath, flames snapping hungrily behind. Simultaneously, Ben Harper's firefighting team battled fiercely, controlling sections of flames near sanctuary grounds. Ben glimpsed distant figures emerging through smoke and recognized Emma's unmistakable form. Heart surging, he rushed forward, shouting orders to ensure their immediate safety. Emma saw Ben approaching through smoke-filled haze, heart swelling with relief. Ben reached her swiftly, steadying her gently. "Emma, are you okay?" he questioned urgently, voice tight with concern. She nodded breathlessly, gratitude shining in her eyes. "Thanks to Nathan and your team, we found Dad." Ben nodded firmly, relief evident. "We'll guide you out safely. Stay close." Their combined teams swiftly navigated away from immediate danger, finally reaching sanctuary gates. Medical responders immediately attended Henry and Marcus, their injuries treated swiftly. Emma embraced her father tightly, tears silently streaking her ash-smudged face, overwhelmed with profound relief. Exhausted, Emma and Ben stood quietly beneath evening stars, observing firefighters finally gaining control of dwindling flames. Timberwood's resilient community, despite deep wounds, would recover. Ben glanced at Emma, heart overflowing with gratitude and newfound resolve. "I couldn't lose you, Emma," Ben admitted softly, sincerity evident in his voice. She smiled faintly, understanding deeply. Together beneath starlit skies, amid lingering smoke, both silently acknowledged the significance of surviving tonight's peril, hearts quietly bonded through shared strength and vulnerability. The wildfire continued to roar furiously through Timberwood's forests, turning the peaceful sanctuary grounds into an inferno. Emma Sullivan struggled forward through dense smoke, eyes stinging fiercely as choking ashes filled her throat. Amidst the chaos, she had become separated from the rescue team, led by Nathan Reed and Ben Harper. Her prosthetic leg felt heavier with each step, causing her balance to falter as the oppressive heat intensified. Fear surged through her veins, yet Emma pushed forward, guided only by instinct. Her honey-blonde hair was now tangled and damp with sweat, her pale face smeared with soot, revealing only glimpses of determined blue eyes shining through layers of exhaustion. Her breath came in short, painful gasps, heart hammering wildly within her chest. She paused briefly beneath a scorched pine, leaning heavily against its charred trunk to catch her breath. Memories of childhood explorations with Koda flooded her mind, painfully contrasting the current devastation around her. Suddenly, a crackling sound echoed loudly as another burning tree toppled nearby, forcing Emma to stumble back sharply, falling hard against the forest floor. Pain shot through her shoulder, tears mixing with ash as desperation briefly overwhelmed her. Meanwhile, not far away, Ben Harper urgently commanded his team, his voice steady yet edged with barely controlled panic. His broad shoulders, framed by heavy protective gear, carried an unyielding strength despite exhaustion. Chestnut hair plastered beneath his helmet, eyes sharp and filled with fierce determination. Ben continued scanning through dense smoke, refusing to abandon his search for Emma. "Emma," he called repeatedly, voice hoarse from smoke. Josh Turner stood close by, continuously encouraging Ben despite grim surroundings. "We won't leave until we find her," Josh declared firmly, sharing Ben's commitment. Elsewhere in the chaos, Eleanor Mills, having recovered enough from earlier shock, was assisting medical teams at sanctuary gates. Her short auburn hair and pale face were now cleaner, though fear lingered deeply within anxious brown eyes. Beside her, Marcus, the injured in turn rescued by Henry, rested quietly, ankle tightly bandaged, his lean frame trembling slightly from lingering shock. Back within the heart of devastation, Emma slowly regained composure, forcing herself upright once more. She moved uncertainly forward, direction lost amidst thick smoke and flames roaring angrily around her. Suddenly, a low rumble sounded from within dense smoke ahead. Emma froze instantly, pulse quickening. She strained her ears, recognizing faint yet strangely familiar grunts and rustling footsteps approaching cautiously. Her breath caught painfully when a massive shadow emerged through smoke, dark for shimmering faintly in flickering firelight. Emma's heart nearly stopped as realization struck. Standing powerfully before her was a fully grown mountain gorilla, muscular yet graceful, his black fur reflecting dancing flames. Despite years apart, Emma instantly recognized those gentle eyes, now filled with deep maturity and unmistakable intelligence. "Koda," Emma whispered softly, voice shaking with disbelief and hope intertwined. Koda paused momentarily, gaze locking intently onto her familiar face, recognition sparking visibly within intelligent eyes. Emitting a soft, low grunt of acknowledgement, Koda stepped forward decisively, gently reaching a strong hand toward Emma, clearly urging her to trust him once more. Emma hesitated only briefly before grasping Koda's large hand firmly, tears of relief streaking her soot-smeared face. Swiftly, Koda shielded Emma protectively, expertly navigating through dense smoke and scorching heat, guiding her skillfully towards safer grounds. His presence radiated strength and calm determination, reassuring Emma profoundly despite perilous surroundings. Though flames continued roaring menacingly, Emma trusted implicitly the incredible creature who once helped heal her broken spirit years ago. Outside the burning woods, Ben relentlessly pressed forward with rescue teams, shouting Emma's name repeatedly. Nathan Reed coordinated closely, signaling paths to follow and areas already cleared. Their collective determination remained unwavering, refusal to abandon hope evident in every careful step through thick smoke. Suddenly, amidst roaring flames, Ben glimpsed movement ahead. Heart surging urgently, he rushed forward instantly, Josh following swiftly. Through smoke emerged Emma, supported tenderly by Koda's towering figure. Ben halted sharply, momentarily frozen in awe and relief as reality sank in. The gorilla he had only known through Emma's stories had saved her once more. "Emma," Ben called urgently, voice thick with relief as he reached her side swiftly. She turned toward him, exhaustion evident, yet eyes shining gratefully. Ben steadied her carefully, deeply moved by profound relief and gratitude toward Koda's incredible heroism. "You're safe now," Ben whispered earnestly, eyes filled with tenderness. Emma nodded gently, leaning briefly against him, heart calming finally beneath his protective presence. Beside them, Koda observed quietly, wise eyes understanding silently the profound bond forming subtly between Emma and Ben. Guided swiftly by Koda's instinctive knowledge of surrounding terrain, their group reached rescue teams gathered near sanctuary gates, greeted with joyous relief. Henry Sullivan, though still exhausted and soot-covered, quickly embraced Emma tightly, tears silently streaming. "You scared me terribly," Henry murmured tenderly, gently touching Emma's soot-stained face. Emma smiled faintly, nodding toward Koda gratefully. "Koda protected me once again, Dad." Henry turned slowly toward Koda, deeply moved as their eyes met silently. Gratitude exchanged profoundly between man and creature who had long ago formed a silent friendship. After a lingering moment, Koda retreated gently, disappearing quietly back into surrounding forests, returning once more to his true home, leaving behind those he had protected bravely. As evening settled quietly over Timberwood, Firefighting efforts gradually gained control over diminishing flames, signaling safety finally restored. Exhausted rescue teams regrouped slowly, relieved yet mindful of damages requiring extensive restoration. Emma stood quietly beside Ben, watching silently as smoke slowly cleared, revealing landscapes deeply scarred yet resilient. Ben gently squeezed her hand reassuringly, voice quietly comforting. "We survived, Emma, thanks to Koda and each other." Emma nodded softly, heart quietly acknowledging profound strength discovered amidst devastation. Memories created tonight would forever shape Timberwood's community deeply, marking resilience and courage beneath flames and smoke. Together beneath emerging stars, Emma and Ben shared quiet gratitude, hearts bonded subtly yet powerfully through experiences survived bravely tonight. Unspoken yet deeply understood, their connection quietly deepened beneath peaceful skies, finally clear of flames, signaling strength and renewal emerging gently amidst memories forever etched profoundly within Timberwood's history. The dawn breaking over Timberwood brought with it a gentle tranquility, a stark contrast to the fierce chaos the town had endured. Wispy trails of smoke still lingered faintly in the cool morning air, painting the sky with muted streaks of gray and pale orange. Emma Sullivan stood quietly beside her father, Henry, at the gates of Wildheart's sanctuary, their eyes reflecting exhaustion, yet also relief. Her honey-blonde hair, clean and neatly combed, shone softly in the pale sunlight, framing her serene yet deeply thoughtful face. Her clear blue eyes, once filled with anxiety, now radiated peace and quiet determination as she gazed toward the recovering forests, silently grateful for survival. Henry Sullivan appeared slightly older after recent events, his sturdy frame tired yet proud beneath his worn sanctuary jacket. Short chestnut hair now showed more gray, hinting at years of devotion and occasional hardship. His eyes, usually sharp and vigilant, had softened noticeably as he regarded Emma, silently proud of the courageous woman she'd become. "We made it through, sweetheart," he murmured gently wrapping an arm around his daughter's shoulder. Emma nodded quietly, leaning comfortably into her father's embrace. Her prosthetic leg still ached slightly from yesterday's ordeal, yet her spirit remained undaunted. She felt deeply aware of her renewed strength, a quiet confidence born from overcoming fear and embracing vulnerability. Timberwood had survived the flames, their community tested yet resilient. Nearby, Ben Harper finished supervising final cleanup efforts, removing his helmet to reveal his slightly damp chestnut hair, his handsome, earnest face marked gently by lingering fatigue. His eyes instinctively searched for Emma, warmth flooding his chest upon seeing her safe beside Henry. Beside Ben stood Josh Turner, his reliable friend, short sandy hair tousled from exhaustion, yet face still brightened by his characteristic optimism. Josh noticed Ben's glance toward Emma, nudging him encouragingly. "Don't wait any longer, Ben," Josh murmured warmly. "This is your moment." Ben hesitated briefly before nodding quietly, understanding finally that bravery meant facing not only external threats, but also emotional truths. Taking a deep breath, he approached Emma, heart pounding slightly with anticipation. "Emma," Ben began softly, eyes gentle and sincere as he reached her side. Emma turned towards him slowly, smiling warmly, cheeks tinged softly with color upon noticing his evident nervousness. Henry discreetly stepped away, offering them privacy, an understanding smile briefly crossing his rugged face. "Ben," Emma whispered softly, encouraging him gently to continue. Ben hesitated momentarily, gathering his thoughts before speaking earnestly. "Emma, I've admired your strength for years. Your kindness, resilience, and dedication inspire everyone, especially me. Facing yesterday's fire reminded me vividly how fragile life can be. I realized I can't waste any more time hiding my feelings. I care deeply for you, Emma. Always have, always will." Emma's heart quickened warmly at Ben's sincere admission, her gaze softening visibly. She reached out, gently grasping his hand. "I felt the same way, Ben," she admitted quietly, eyes shining warmly with newfound courage. "You've always been there, quietly supporting me through everything. I'm grateful beyond words." Ben smiled softly, relief flooding his features as their fingers intertwined gently. Together beneath Timberwood's tranquil morning sky, a quiet promise silently formed between them, marking a profound new chapter born from shared struggles and mutual trust. Later that day, as volunteers and townspeople gathered to assess damages and organize rebuilding efforts, Mayor Catherine Blake approached Emma and Henry. Her poised demeanor remained strong despite recent events, short silver hair neatly styled, her intelligent eyes now showing compassion and pride in Timberwood's resilience. "Timberwood owes much gratitude to you both," Catherine acknowledged warmly. "This community thrives because of your unwavering dedication." Henry humbly accepted her praise, smiling kindly. "Our work is only possible because the town supports us wholeheartedly," he responded earnestly. Emma nodded in quiet agreement, deeply touched by Timberwood's supportive community spirit. Over the following weeks, Emma, Henry, and Ben led coordinated efforts to restore Wildheart Sanctuary and damaged forests. Nathan Reed worked tirelessly alongside them, supervising reforestation and wildlife recovery programs. Nathan's disciplined yet compassionate leadership proved invaluable, his tall figure seen frequently assisting volunteers, short blonde hair tousled from constant activity. During one particularly sunny afternoon, Emma, Ben, and Henry carefully guided a group of local students around restoration projects, teaching important conservation lessons. Among the students was Lucy Miller, a lively 10-year-old with curly auburn hair, bright freckles, and boundless enthusiasm. Lucy listened eagerly, eyes wide with fascination, quickly becoming a passionate advocate for wildlife protection. Her contagious enthusiasm reminded Emma vividly of her younger self, deepening Emma's resolve to continue her educational mission tirelessly. As sanctuary restoration continued successfully, Henry invited Emma to observe recent wildlife footage captured deep within recovering forests. Together, they watched quietly, hearts swelling proudly upon witnessing Koda standing majestically among a thriving gorilla family. Fully grown and impressively strong, Koda confidently guided his group, clearly respected as their wise and protective leader. Emma's eyes filled instantly with joyful tears, heart profoundly moved witnessing Koda's incredible journey. "You did it, Dad," she whispered emotionally, squeezing Henry's hand affectionately. "Koda is thriving because of your lifelong dedication." Henry smiled humbly, voice tender yet quietly proud. "We did it together, sweetheart." Koda symbolizes our hopes realized, proof humans and nature can coexist harmoniously. Word quickly spread throughout Timberwood about Koda's inspiring success story, fueling renewed enthusiasm for conservation efforts. Lily Foster eagerly involved her elementary students in sanctuary projects, her petite frame animated with excitement, curly hair bouncing energetically as she guided eager young minds. Amidst thriving restoration, Timberwood gradually reclaimed peaceful tranquility. Emma and Ben's deepening relationship flourished quietly beneath community warmth, their bond strengthening through shared passions and mutual support. Henry proudly observed their partnership blossom, sensing quietly their mutual dedication would continue his conservation legacy long after retirement. One serene evening beneath starlit skies, Emma and Ben stood quietly together near sanctuary gates, breathing deeply Timberwood's peaceful night air. Their hearts quietly celebrated surviving recent trials, deeply aware challenges endured had strengthened Timberwood's community profoundly. Emma glanced toward Ben, eyes tender yet determined. "I believe wholeheartedly love and courage guide us through hardships," she admitted softly. "Koda showed me long ago, a wild heart always finds its way home." Ben smiled warmly, squeezing her hand gently. Then let's continue guiding Timberwood forward together, Emma. Our hearts will protect this community fiercely. Together beneath endless stars, Emma and Ben's hearts promised silently dedication to Timberwood's future, commitment born from lessons learned deeply amidst flames, pain, and triumph. Their wild hearts, forever connected profoundly, would courageously protect Timberwood and each other, ensuring harmony between humanity and nature endured powerfully for generations ahead. In life, we often face storms that seem impossible to overcome. But remember, courage and love will always guide us safely home. Just like Emma, Ben, and Koda, who showed us the power of hope and resilience, each one of us can overcome life's trials with kindness, bravery, and faith. If this story touched your heart, please share it with your friends and family. And don't forget to subscribe for more inspiring stories. May God bless you and guide you through every challenge you face. If you believe in the strength of compassion and courage, please comment Amen below.